you're good, yes? I was lining with some old men before the election, and well, I was amazed of their discussion. They were discussing the election of 2025. How Africans were selling cheap and UNC buying dead or alive. One old man shout out, fellas, give me your attention. UNC can't win by themselves, no election. You see, they're sitting and they're planning to make a decision. So she called out Shilaga, who the old FIFA wanted man. She said, call the trade union, let we start negotiations. And we could call out a big sale and we go buy out some Africans. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying Africans. Sing the thing. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying Africans. She don't have all she chance and she the honor rhymes. No, what she need is some slave names, man, some big strong Africans. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying good or bad. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. Jamaica and Trinidad. Oh, somebody pinch me. Hey, UNC sitting and they're waiting patiently. With about 16 safe seats, they don't win that already. The woman said, I have my people, and they are born UNCs. Now all I need is some Africans who got their names out of slavery. She said that she hear they're really selling cheap, and she could buy them very cheap, 500 and a jersey. A lot of people will cry when she's finished with CPEP, because she is not holding back them P&M have nothing to get. She said this party be for country, all you never, never forget. She will care for her people and she have no blasting regrets. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying Africans. She buying Africans for sale, for sale. Listen, we buying Africans. She said we like crab in a barrel. We pulling each other down. But I want their votes, so I jam them the winning song. And so they know it. Africans when you see wins, everybody wins. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. Jamaica and Trinidad. Hi, who called me? I want this verse, no right? Black mines in Tobago, she's working on them with ease, but she's not afraid because monkeys say cool breeze. She said the last time she was easy, this time there is no room for mistakes, cause when she's done with Tobago, it's either they make or break. She has her eyes on Maruga, especially Samuel Cooper. They got a lot of P&M houses, but none of them can remember. She's buying some in 6 company because they're nice, they're bad and they're trim. Their ancestors came from Africa and all of them is Americans. She passed through 5 company and she bunks up Madingo. Well, boy, she makes she name cause she gets Africans for Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying Africans. Kill them. Africans for sale, for sale. Listen this. We buying Africans. Doc Faisabad was pretty serious with her reading the cemetery. He said I'm waiting for refinery point. That man had to be crazy. What? Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying good or bad. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. Jamaica and Trinidad. I never meet to commercial man so. She said my people are loyal. They don't vote for other parties. But them P&M people just show them some money, staggered roti. She said I have my safe seats in the safe hands of Caroni. She go on to St. Couva, straight down to St. Paris. She said I love my people. For 10 years we out in the rain. But when I get back in there, things will never be the same. To all of my people, you must get your rightful place. And I don't care who's sitting there and think I am talking race. You all know what's hurting me. You see that, Dr. Rowley? We don't hide up all we money. The damn man change the currency. Hey! Africans for sale, hey, for sale, hey, for sale. Hey. We buying African. Kill them. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying Africans. They bought out PSA. They got them for 10%. Now they could beat them.
Citizens of the Republic. My name is Renison Jeffrey. This is the Workers' Rights Platform, and we are broadcasting live on the Workers' Rights Network. Now, today is the 9th of the 2nd month, 2026. And I, Renison Jeffrey, as I would have said earlier on in a post today, I would have received information coming straight out of the police force in this country, where it is senior members of the police force, and when I'm talking, I'm putting no water in my mouth. I would have heard from a reliable source that Roger Alexander have been instructed to secure charges against social media bloggers, including myself. I would have gotten that information from people within the police force. And Trinidad and Tobago. You see, what is disrespectful concerning that whole thing is that they label us as bloggers, people that just talking and not taking into consideration what we say. So at the end of the day, they didn't plan to label us as equals. They label us as just people that speak. And I, for one, when I hear the allegations, I put it in the public domain. So the members of the public could do their own deductive reasoning as to what I would have said. Because what we do here on this platform is to inform the misinformed and to plot a clear line of truth that you don't see on no other network. What we produce here in Trinidad and Tobago, I can tell you right now in mainstream media, other than sometimes CNC3, they are just talking points for you to react. But what I plan to do here this evening is to bring the whole truth and nothing but the truth. And let me start with this. People of Trinidad and Tobago, I want you to remember this. There was a matter with Ken Foster. Something that is mirroring the same thing that ended up with Joshua Samaro. And the only reason why things like this would have persisted is that nobody is keeping a check on the police. I would have heard Roger Alexander would have said, why are you giving the PSA any rights to investigate and all them kind of thing? Because he know what he would have done in 2022 with the same incident, something that mirrors the same thing with the Ken Foster case. But before we go on, let me bring some perspective to this. I want you to remember this that would have taken place on the 20th of January 2026. And then we go into the massive breakdown of what would have taken place with Roger Alexander 2022. We all know this story here. We all know that story because it's fresh in my mind. We all know that story. But how much of you know the story of Ken Foster? How much of you outside here would have ever heard of the story of Ken Foster, where Roger Alexander was a part of that whole scenario? And in May 2025, the judge would have made a pronouncement on the matter. No, I ain't gonna know that at all, because the recency effect is within play. And argumentum ad novitum. New things, this is a new case. And we are operating as if the police are infallible. So anybody who ever received threats, we must take that seriously with the police force, because they not only have a history of executing people, there is evidence that is within the public domain. If we just open the eye and look, we will find all that we need. But we haven't people toting feelings because we calling them dumb. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is only based on information that we would have seen and experienced within the public domain. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I know, but I reached a point that you had to reach a place that you don't care, because they will always come. But I ain't gonna play with this guy here this evening. Let me come with it. Let me come with what I have here installed. Because let God be truth and every man a liar. The other day I was on the streets where Victor Roberts was. And this statement was evident. We mustn't let them inject fear into us. No. Not at all. Not at all. Mado.
Stand. And if we don't stand for something, then we might as well die for nothing.
Victor Roberts, when you were UNC Senate, I mean, you free your loss and work with some kind of thing.
So let me explain that clearly to you. I am an alderman in the Super Borough Corporation according to the local government laws. Yes, I was recommended for the position by the UNC. And I want to tell the UNC this. This is not about Victor Roberts. You all could do what you want with alderman position. A matter of fact, you all could go to hell with that. Do what you want with that. But I will continue to stand for the poor, the oppressed, and speak out against any piece of legislation or any draconian measures that the government implement that is against the population. That is my position. So here do I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I do not fear the UNC. I do not fear the UNC.
Listen, because people want to know clearly your stance right now and why you're out here. Everybody was too long to get that path. So just talk about if you care about the profession, people would want to know.
All right. So I have no problem with any repercussions for me standing up and at this case kneeling down, defending the poor, the oppressed, and the downtrodden. Whatever the UNC wants to do is a matter for them. I will do what I have to do in the defense of the poor, the oppressed, and the downtrodden in this country, and they can do what they want.
No thanks, I'm good. Wait, is this a brain? Not bad. No thanks, I'm good. Wait, is this a brain? Not bad.
Well, John Rampasad, good night, sir. Yes, we would have reached out to you and I would have seen your clip here. But this, people Trinidad and Tobago, this year, this program here, this workers' rights broadcast, it's not about party. Let me tell you here one time. It's about truth. Now you hear Victor Roberts, a man that working and functioning underneath the UNC banner with, that speaking out irregardless. Somebody dead. The police shoot them down. And right now Trinidad and Tobago, again, reliable information that came from directly from the police force. They are planning to put within a media release, or you hear it here first, and you go see what is going on take place within a few days hence, and refer back to the same video. So the many of you that are now joining me here on this broadcast, you can get a repeat of this show. It's running currently on our website, Workers' Rights 868. Type it up on Google. Go on YouTube, Workers' Rights 868. It is running live on TikTok and it is running live on YouTube right at this point in time and live on our website. So to those that are joining us from on the different variant sites, we know TikTok does only save, it does save live. So Trinidad and Tobago, right now, they are planning to say it was a sting operation that would have been set up in concordance to the statement that would have been released by Kaya, the girlfriend of Joshua Samaru. They would have amalgamated a lot of experts to craft a story based on the statement that was released by Kaya Sili. To say, to tell the public that it was a sting operation that Joshua Samaru ran away from, and he's accustomed picking up and dropping off certain things. They are going and craft a story on that based on the statement that was released, when everybody saying and seeing within the statement that they would have placed in a trunk on top she boyfriend who was struggling for their life. They see that as an opportunity oh yeah, it here first. So let's go in to the explanation from with Roger Alexander. And you're going to see for yourself, Trinidad and Tobago, what is taking place within this country.
This is a situation where it's in 2018, November 30th, when the then government shut down Petrotrin. A number of officers had to be called out.
Roger Alexander cannot be trusted, a cry for justice from the shadows of power. In a just society, the integrity of law enforcement should be beyond reproach. But when the very people sworn to uphold the law manipulate it for their own ends, they not only betray the people, they desecrate the sacred trust that binds a nation together. The recent acquittal of Ken Foster is not just a legal outcome, it is a glaring indictment of former police officer and now Minister of Homeland Security, Roger Alexander. It lays bare a truth too many have whispered and too few have dared to say aloud: Roger Alexander cannot be trusted. Let us not mince words. Ken Foster stood trial for his life. He was shot, charged, and almost buried under the weight of lies, inconsistencies, and tainted evidence. And at the center of it all was Roger Alexander. How can we trust a man whose case crumbled under the most basic scrutiny? Not one station diary note could support the officer's version of events. No official record. No accountability. In policing, that's equivalent to erasing the very footprints of truth. The chain of custody was broken, the same firearm, ammunition, and spent shells that supposedly linked Foster to the crime were marred by mishandling and unexplained changes in markings. Evidence tampered with. Evidence reshuffled. Evidence corrupted. This isn't sloppy police work, this is sabotage. The judge himself, Justice Hayden St. Clair Douglas, was left in disbelief. In his own words, "I am not sure the accused shot at anyone. I am not sure he was in possession of a firearm or ammunition." This is not ambiguity. This is doubt sown by deception. And most damning of all, the defense suggested that Foster was framed because he refused to become a tool of state power, to falsely accuse a reputed gang leader. In that moment, Foster became an enemy of convenience. And for that, he was shot, charged, and nearly caged. This is not justice. This is tyranny. Roger Alexander, then a constable, now a minister, had power in his hands. And the court has shown he abused it. His own testimony fell apart. His colleagues' stories were riddled with inconsistencies. Their statements were not just unreliable, they were orchestrated. This is not a man we can trust to uphold national security. This is not a man who should hold the fate of any citizen in his hands. If he was willing to bend the truth to fit his narrative as a police officer, what will he do now, armed with even more authority? This isn't about politics. This is about human dignity. About the lives that can be destroyed when power goes unchecked. It's about a young man who could have been lost to the prison system forever, not because he was guilty, but because he stood in the way of a fabricated story. Roger Alexander may sit in a minister's chair today, but the stain of this case follows him. The public must ask, how many other Ken Fosters are out there? How many people has he silenced, framed, or condemned with faulty evidence and unaccountable authority? To the people of Trinidad and Tobago, this is a call to vigilance. Power must be accountable. Justice must be transparent. And no one, no matter their title, should be allowed to rise above the law. Ken Foster walked free because the truth spoke louder than the lies. Let us never forget who tried to bury it.
This is a situation where it's in 2018, November 30th, when the then government shut down Petrotrin. A number of officers had to be called out.
That is the Minister of National Security. There was an incident that would have occurred in 2022 with Ken Foster. This is well documented. Where they would have framed inconsistencies with evidence presentation. The judge, the learned judge, would have ruled against the police force. Because back then, that case would have just came out in May 2025, just after the election, where it would have talked about the inconsistencies when Roger Alexander was in the police force. So now Trinidad and Tobago, a man in which we would have seen that would have been killed by the police force, nothing coming out of it. Because I scratch my back, I scratch your back, you scratch my back type of thing that taking place here in Trinidad. We ought to be afraid of the police force in this country. And when somebody is telling me, saying, Jeffrey, you know they're coming at you, that is how dangerous this is. So, I just try to understand Trinidad and Tobago. I just try to put into perspective what really going on here in this country. When I sit back and I analyze what taking place, then in the future, it go have a lot of this regardless to what administration is within power. And we must say no to things like this that is taking place within the police force. The hell with party where this is concerned. The hell with governance where this is concerned. The police force needs to buck up. And that message must be sent through the police force. Because it doesn't, when it hit home, we go understand how serious this is, isn't it? When it reach on your doorstep, you will understand how serious this thing is. In that position, the position of Homeland Security, Roger Alexander have no business being the Minister of Homeland Security. And we must see it for what it is. Because if I decide, not I, because tonight we are going through this with a fine-teeth comb, because this same incident would have taken place unless the only thing that different, Joshua Samaru would have lost his life. Ken Foster didn't. For some strange reason, he only gets shot in the foot. And we are the same minister. Sitting down at the helm. Oh, you're getting tired of this thing, you know? Clip number 2. When I done play this clip here, I will be opening the lines for many of you to get your 2 cents in. Roger Alexander is not a man to be trusted. And no matter who he support, we are not supposed to trust them. If Alistair Guerrero cannot come on national TV and talk about what is taking place with this investigation, then he has to go on away for maybe or perhaps about it. Clip number 2, because I want to give context to this. This thing we are to give context
charges
to this.
related to a 2002 shooting. Ken Foster has been freed of charges related to a 2002 shooting incident involving police officers, one of whom is current Minister of Homeland Security Roger Alexander.
In a judge-alone trial, Justice Hayden Sinclair Douglas rejected the evidence of former police constable Alexander and his former colleagues, saying he was unconvinced of Foster's guilt.
The charges stemmed from an alleged shootout in Morva. Officers said they tried to intercept a stolen vehicle when Foster shot at them. They returned fire with Alexander shooting Foster.
Well, Foster denied any wrongdoing, claiming he was framed for refusing to implicate a gang leader. His attorney, Peter Carter, highlighted flaws in the case, including missing station diary notes, possible collusion, and improper packaging of ballistic evidence.
Ken Foster, a resident of Charford Court in Port of Spain, was acquitted of several serious charges stemming from an incident on April 3, 2002, in which he was accused of shooting at police officers, including Roger Alexander, who is now the Minister of Homeland Security but was then a police constable. Foster faced charges of shooting with intent to cause grievous bodily harm to Alexander and 3 other officers, as well as illegal possession of a firearm and ammunition. According to the prosecution, Alexander and his colleagues were on patrol in Morvant responding to a stolen vehicle report. They claimed they pursued a vehicle matching the description and that Foster, seated in the front passenger seat, fired at them during the chase and again when the car stopped. Alexander reportedly returned fire, injuring Foster. Foster did not testify at his trial, but his defense, led by attorney Peter Carter, argued that Foster was framed after refusing to identify reputed gang leader Cohen Fresh Phillip as a passenger in the car. The defense also raised several procedural and evidentiary issues, including lack of station diary notes documenting the incident, possible collusion or inconsistencies in the officers' written statements, problems with the chain of custody for the firearm, ammunition, and spent shells allegedly recovered at the scene, unexplained changes in the markings on the evidence, why Roger Alexander, the prosecution, lost, key legal arguments and judicial reasoning. Standard of proof not met. Justice Hayden Sinclair Douglas ruled that the prosecution failed to prove its case beyond a reasonable doubt. He explicitly stated, looking at the evidence as a whole, I am not sure the accused shot at anyone. I am not sure he was in possession of a firearm or ammunition. Unreliable police testimony. The judge rejected the evidence provided by Alexander and his fellow officers, finding it insufficient and unpersuasive. The defense's cross-examination highlighted inconsistencies and possible collusion in their statements. Evidence handling issues. The judge was particularly troubled by discrepancies in the chain of custody and unexplained changes to the markings on the physical evidence, firearm, ammunition, spent shells. These issues undermined the integrity and reliability of the prosecution's case. Lack of corroborating documentation. The absence of station diary notes documenting the officer's actions and observations on the night in question further weakened the prosecution's position. These discrepancies leave the court in doubt, Justice Sinclair Douglas said. Defense's strategy. Foster's defense did not require him to testify, relying instead on cross-examination to expose weaknesses in the prosecution's case. The defense suggested a possible motive for the officers to frame Foster, namely his refusal to implicate a reputed gang leader. Broader implications. This outcome reflects the high standard required for criminal convictions, proof beyond a reasonable doubt, and the importance of proper evidence handling and credible testimony. The judge's decision demonstrates that even high-profile complainants, such as a government minister and former senior police officer, are subject to this rigorous standard. Roger Alexander, in response to the verdict, accepted the court's decision and emphasized respect for judicial independence, though he maintained his account of the events. In conclusion, the prosecution's inability to present a consistent, credible, and properly documented case led to Ken Foster's acquittal. The judge's ruling underscores the necessity for law enforcement to maintain rigorous standards in evidence collection and documentation to secure convictions in serious criminal matters. The recent acquittal of Ken Foster on multiple serious charges reveals a deeply troubling reality about the conduct of then police officer Roger Alexander, now the Minister of Homeland Security. The court's findings shatter the illusion of integrity that the public is often urged to accept without question. How can we trust a man whose testimony in a life-altering criminal case was dismissed by a judge as unreliable and insufficient? This was not a minor lapse. The evidence presented under Alexander's leadership was riddled with inconsistencies, mishandled physical items, and crucial gaps in official documentation. When a man's freedom hangs in the balance, we expect more than shaky stories and missing records, we expect truth. The gravity of the judicial findings cannot be overstated. Justice Hayden St. Clair Douglas, after hearing all the evidence, could not say with certainty that Foster even fired a gun. That doubt wasn't born from legal loopholes. It stemmed from blatant contradictions in the officer's accounts, a mysterious absence of station diary notes, and mishandled evidence that changed markings without explanation. These are not small errors. These are the kinds of failures that destroy lives and erode public faith. If Alexander, as a constable, oversaw or participated in such a flawed operation, how can we believe he now upholds justice as a government minister? Even more damning is the defense's claim that Foster was targeted because he refused to identify a gang leader. This isn't just a courtroom tactic, it's a chilling accusation that points to corruption and abuse of power within the police force. Whether or not that claim is ever proven in a separate court, the very possibility should alarm every citizen. If our law enforcement is willing to frame a man to protect their own narratives or agendas, then justice becomes selective, not impartial. And if Roger Alexander was complicit in that, then his elevation to national leadership is not just ironic, it's dangerous. This case lays bare a critical truth: authority does not equal honesty. A uniform or a ministerial title should not shield anyone from scrutiny. Roger Alexander's past actions, as exposed in this trial, are not just blemishes on his record, they are warning signs. Trust must be earned, and in this case, the court has shown us that his word alone is not enough. The people of Trinidad and Tobago deserve leaders who uphold justice, not those whose past conduct in the face of that very justice raises more questions than answers.
Ken Foster has been freed of charges related to a 2002 shooting incident involving police officers, one of whom is current Minister of Homeland Security Roger Alexander.
In a judge-alone trial, Justice Hayden St. Clair Douglas rejected the evidence of former police constable Alexander and his former colleagues, saying he was unconvinced of Foster's guilt.
The charges stemmed from an alleged shootout in Morva. Officers said they tried to intercept a stolen vehicle when Foster shot at them. They returned fire with Alexander shooting Foster.
Well, Foster denied any wrongdoing, claiming he was framed for refusing to implicate a gang leader. His attorney, Peter Carter, highlighted flaws in the case, including missing station diary notes, possible collusion, and improper packaging of ballistic evidence.
So Trinidad and Tobago, all these information is aired on this platform. And it's easy to pinpoint as to the reason they want to come after me. And not only me, many others, because it's not I alone. There are Candace Edwards, there are people like Seth Bay, there are people like Kitty, that unapologetically speaking out against injustice that take place within Trinidad. And even Joshua, despite his stance for the UNC, I would have seen him outside there within the protests. And I hail him all the way. You see, we must stand up, regardless to what politicians tell we. Regardless to what they tell we, regardless to the divide that they're giving us or the place and say we different, we must stand up. Trinidad and Tobago, the numbers to call is 333-2176. You could call via WhatsApp or you could join me here live on TikTok. So the lines is open. You see, we had to move away the blinders. And yes, Candace and Jason. Jason X. So the numbers to call is 333-2176. You could call normal phone call and you could call on WhatsApp. You could make a WhatsApp call. You could reach out on TikTok itself because people, we had to be brave. We have to be bold. We have to reach a point that they cannot put us within a corner and expect us to stay there with our hands on our lip. Fold your arms and put your hands on your lip. You feel this is school days over? We are fighting for our very lives. The lives of our children. The life that we are living presently. And the life of our fellow men. We must be brave. We must be bold. And we must be unapologetic with the truth. I ain't say go out there and be reckless. No, don't be reckless. Because they're coming. So to the many of you that are there, that are outside there on YouTube, on TikTok, and are currently viewing on our website, make your contribution here tonight. Workers' Rights 868, join me here live here tonight. Yes, brother, greetings to you. Remember, the lines is open, Get your contribution inside. People, this is not a game, because there are demonstrations that we are going to keep here throughout Trinidad and Tobago. And we can't say it here, we know the listening. So we have to talk in secret. So the many of you that are outside, I ain't seen the TikTok feed, the YouTube feed. I can't respond to here within the chats within YouTube. You could make your contribution here live here tonight. You could call, you could WhatsApp, you could send a voice note and all. The night is the night. We must remove fear from our hearts. Not only them alone have a voice, we have a voice too. We're going to what Victor Roberts would have said, a matter of fact. Watch when I do this boy now, boy. What should I do that boy now, boy? A clear view of the public. That brother saying he won back Trinidad and Tobago. He won back Trinidad and Tobago. Trying to see if we could pull you up. Something sovereign soul. Yeah. Everybody were back Trinidad and Tobago.
No thanks, I'm good. Wait, is this a brain? Not bad. No thanks, I'm good. Wait, is this a brain? Not bad. I'm the smartest already. I'm the police commissioner. I don't need no brain. No thanks. I'm the smartest already. I'm the police commissioner. I don't need no brain. No thanks. I'm the smartest already. I'm the police commissioner. I don't need no brain. No thanks. I'm the smartest already. I'm the police commissioner. I don't need no brain. No thanks. I'm the smartest already. I'm the police commissioner. I don't need no brain. No thanks. I'm the smartest already. I'm the police commissioner. I don't need no brain. No thanks. I'm the smartest already. I'm the police commissioner. I don't need no brain. No thanks. I'm the smartest already.
We hear you, Alexander. He's the smartest already. Use the police commissioner and you don't need no brains. I understand you. So you don't have to come and tell the people of Trinidad and Tobago that from the time I would have heard a particular talk, they need to come to see me. I know this man was a dunce. I know Alexander was a dunce. And to try to silence dissent, people who is speaking out concerning what is taking place here in Trinidad and Tobago, and your only response is to lock them up. I know you're a dunce. Come on now, man. Come on. Only dunce behaves like that. Watch a statement by Roger, and we could see this man, something wrong with him. In the heights of this whole situation, with never play. They Roger.
Like that. Like that. Like that.
That Roger Alexander behavior on a consistent level. And you see, you know what bothered me about it? Anytime somebody decides to make a comment on it, here was some people saying, boy, why you fighting on a black brother? This has nothing to do with fighting on black brother. This are all to do with talking the truth. This man is a dance. This man is an embarrassment to black people. And if that the anger most of you is going down, that we must leave a man to talk rubbish in the position that he in, all because that he black, that or he ain't gonna get a loyalty from me at all. Or he ain't gonna get that from me at all. This man, by oh God. And there is the man in charge of security in Trinidad and Tobago. Boy.
Children under the age of 12?
Yeah, well, again, the parents come and register the children. Once the children are of age where they cannot register for themselves, they should come. They need to accompany their parents, especially young persons.
What age is that? Yeah, awesome.
What's the cutoff age? Well, we look at to work with your parents, you must be over 18. You know that?
And the most doty smile that I ever see. You must be over. We seeing all of these things within the public domain, and we still had this man in charge of national security. We still had this man in charge of crime fighting in this country. We still had this man, Roger Alexander, in charge of crime fighting in this country. And people, no matter what, on the opposition, on the government bench, there are certain people that supporting it, no matter what. If we break down every statement from Roger Alexander, we go come to the conclusion that he's a dunce. I wouldn't himself have to play anything for you again concerning he. Everybody go know he's a dunce. And the thing about it is this. You know, the man actually at one point in time tried to explain it.
Ask me a question the other day. You asked me a question the other day. How long is 14 months? Now you tell me, how long is 14? That's the first thing people just learn. Yeah. If 12 months in a year, 12 and 2, so how much is 24 months? 12 and 24 months. So I just say, you know what? Let's play foolish with foolish conversation.
Now, on this clip here, I show him how we went and somebody maybe tell him about this. But we say, Roger, you don't know always. So you come back in that interview. You was in Parliament. All for you to do is to answer the question. We talking about how much years it is. And you go on a controlled media. Yeah, son, when you already know the answer, there now, because somebody maybe tell you. Say, boy, Roger, you come now, man. You know where is that? You know where is that?
Every week, I'll ask you for that. Everything will be all right. Everything will be all right. Let's wait.
What are your objectives? What are your goals and plans?
Listen, we have some things coming, and you all will see.
Something such as?
If I tell you, you see, I always want me to tell you I can't.
No, the opposition leader would have attended the funeral of Joshua Samaru. Did you attend? And if not, why not?
I had other commitments that day.
And there's continuing calls for the Commissioner of Police to resign. What are your new thoughts on that? Because every day things are changing.
It's changing. I told you, evidence is what we deal with.
You plan on releasing the evidence that the police have or any video footage that the police may have?
No, the opposition said that is nothing by law stopping you from releasing any.
Now, or you listen to the music that Roger Alexander listening to? Roger Alexander's phone was playing gangster music. You see, what we align ourselves with in the life. I mean, they say, show me your friends and I go show you I am. Show me 10 things that he does do. And 3 things he does do often and I go tell you who he is. This man is not interested in answering any questions to the public. But yet still, when people like myself, Jason, Kitty, Candace, all of us is questioning the actions of this government and you, Roger Alexander, with your done self, when we questioning your actions, or you want to secure charges on us, if you are the testicular fortitude, Roger Alexander, come on this program from the comfort of your own house. Then we interview here. But yeah, that ain't go serve your agenda at all. You go run on TTT. You go run there, you go run on the ground report. You go run on other programs that all you have control of. Instead of face the public. Yeah, the kind of music Roger listening to. And you tell me if this man very much interested in dealing with the matters of national security in this country.
Every week I'll ask you for that. Everything will be all right. Everything will be all right.
Let's
What
wait.
are your objectives? What are your goals?
Everything go be alright. Every week you ask some of that. Everything go be alright. Everything go be alright. Hear the music.
Listen, we have some things coming, and you all will see it.
Something such as?
If I tell you, you see, that what is want me to tell you, I can't.
No, the opposition leader would have attended the funeral of Joshua Samaru. Did you attend? And if not, why not?
I had other commitments that day.
And there's continuing calls for the Commissioner of Police to resign. What are your new thoughts on that? Because every day things are changing.
It's changing. I told you, evidence is what we deal with.
You plan on releasing the evidence that the police have or any video footage that the police may have?
No, the opposition said that is nothing by law stopping you from releasing any further evidence.
The opposition could say anything they want to know. You remember that? Of course.
When I thought this man would have seized the opportunity to speak to Trinidad and Tobago concerning what is taking place with the case with Joshua Samaru. This man, Roger Alexander, continue to be cocky, continue to be haughty, and give answers that we could do nothing with. And here it is, we have this man at the helm, because the strongest set of voices in this country is that of black people. So when Kamla Prasad Bisesa strategically put Roger Alexander in the position of national security, black people automatically go say, boy, you know, even myself in the early stages, seeing how dotish the Minister of Homeland Security is, say, boy, better we ain't say nothing because he black. But not saying anything in instances like this. You could pick up a bullet, or the police could come and assassinate you, and nobody ain't say nothing, and nobody want to say anything. And people like Philip taunting the public. Oh, that is a small protest. Them outside Parliament. Yeah, that is what I want to do here. The very man that muster support from thousands of people within the public domain. Yeah, it is. Yeah, what he had to say.
Four police killing on the road. 4. But I never see you outside the Red House. But you're outside the Red House with your hands in the air. Wearing sign mark, don't shoot. Who that sign for? Kamla? Your worried Kamla going to shoot you? Kamla don't instruct police, Kamla don't hire police, it's not Kamla's job to investigate police. Your protest is with the police administration building 1 block east. We ain't going there. Cause monkey know which street to climb. You're outside the Red House for the camera for 5 minutes. You know my real protest. You're outside there looking for likes and shares on Facebook. And that's your whole role in the politics. Likes and shares. What are you contributing? What are you contributing to the people who you saw in that video? There's an active investigation. In fact, there are 2 active investigations underway. What were you doing other than climbing up on their dead bodies and stunting? You have no shame.
I'm Philip Alexander, that operates under the instructions of Kamla Persad Bissessa. And when the public speak out against it, she said that minister operate all on his own, without any retribution whatsoever, without any reprimanding whatsoever. He operate all on his own. And in the midst of this whole thing here,
social media, on social media bigger than their social media, and the public getting the information. That's why nobody turning out for this stupid protest, because it continues.
I don't agree with that.
But I'm telling you, on social media, our social media bigger than their social media, and the public getting the information. That's why nobody turning out for this stupid protest, because it continues.
I don't agree with that.
That is a scumbag that they call Philip Edward Alexander. And the reason, you see, when we give a man an inch and he take a mile, that is where it is getting. Because at the end of the day, thousands of people, hundreds of people, matter of fact, all through social media, protest action that would have taken place outside of parliament. And this is the behavior of Philip Edward Alexander. Trinidad and Tobago, are we going to take this type of disrespect from that Syrian? Always plainly talking about the father and the Sapgas and all of them. Only to get this piece of thing. You see what we entertain. You see what we entertain in social media is what we allow. Watch what and I played it side by side for you to see it. I wait to see this thing side by side. So after witnessing a police killing on camera, Philip Edward Alexander would have called into a radio program taunting the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, knowing very well the agenda of his government and operating underneath the auspices of Kamla Persad Bissessa, take to social media and spit in the faces of these grieving citizens and them. Spit in their faces. That nasty dog, Philip Alexander. That is what he do. He come on social media, give him out liberty.
But I'm telling you, on social media, our social media bigger than their social media, and the public getting the information. That's why nobody turning out for this stupid protest, because it continues.
I don't agree with that.
That is what Philip Edward Alexander did on social media. Calling TTT radio station. People protesting outside Parliament. We know Roger Alexander is a dunce. He do nothing about national security, but yet still Kamla have a purpose by keeping him there, so black people ain't go say nothing, so people ain't go speak out, because she know his nature. She knows how he functions. All the ministers and them is just after salary. Otherwise they would have be standing up for truth. A man dead, police, you see it on camera, I mean he gets shoot up. And nothing come out of it, but we playing the fool, yes? According to what Victor Roberts would have said, I fear no UNC. None. None whatsoever. So don't play, you can inject that inside of me. Again, I gotta answer that call on our next time, innit?
To take a stand, and if we don't stand for something, then we might as well die for nothing.
Victor Roberts, when you are UNC Senator, I mean, you afraid you're not saying what was some kind of thing?
So let me explain that clearly to you. I am an alderman in the Super Borough Corporation according to the local government laws. Yes, I was recommended for the position by the UNC. And I want to tell the UNC this. This is not about Victor Roberts. You all could do what you want with alderman position. As a matter of fact, you all could go to hell with that. Do what you want with that, but I will continue to stand for the poor, the oppressed, and speak out against any piece of legislation or any draconian measures that the government implement that is against the population. That is my position. So here do I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I do not fear the UNC. I do not fear the UNC.
Listen, because people want to know clearly his stance right now on why you're out here. Everybody was too long to get that back. So just talk about if you care about your profession. People want to know.
All right. So I have no problem with any repercussions for me standing up, and at this case, kneeling down, defending the poor, the oppressed, and the downtrodden. Whatever the UNC wants to do is a matter for them. I will do what I have to do in the defense of the poor, the oppressed, and the downtrodden in this country, and they can do what they want.
So this thing here is very simple. There are a lot of people that would have sold their soul. David Muhammad is one of those. Yeah. Stephen Rees is one of those. Hey. Philip Edward Alexander is one of those. Heavy Duty and TC is one of those.
If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right. And so just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
Power which makes itself felt, and yet there is an indefinable, mysterious power that pervades everything. I feel it, though I do not see it. It is this unseen power which makes itself felt, and yet defies all proof, because it is so unlike all that I perceive through my senses. It transcends the senses, but it is possible to reason out the existence of God to a limited extent. Even in ordinary affairs, we know that people do not know who rules or why and how he rules. And yet they know that there is a power that certainly rules. In my tour last year in Mysore, I met many poor villagers, and I found upon inquiry that they did not know who ruled Mysore. They simply said, some god ruled it. If the knowledge of these poor people was so limited about their ruler, I, who am infinitely lesser in respect to God than they to their ruler, need not be surprised if I do not realize the presence of God, the King of Kings. Nevertheless, I do feel, as the poor villagers felt about Mysore, that there is orderliness in the universe. There is an unalterable law governing everything and every being that exists or lives. It is not a blind law, for no blind law can govern the conduct of living beings. And thanks to the marvelous researches of Sir J.C. Bose, it can now be proved that even matter is life. That law, then, which governs all life is God. Law and the lawgiver are one. I may not deny the law or the lawgiver because I know so little about it or him. Just as my denial or ignorance of the existence of an earthly power will avail me nothing, even so my denial of God and His law will not liberate me from its operation, whereas humble and mute acceptance of divine authority makes life's journey easier, even as the acceptance of earthly rule makes life under it easier. I do
Many of us don't believe it of a God. And that's the mistake we are making. You see what is taking place here in this country? It's so ungodly. It's a shame. And the archetypes, Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. was fighting for the freedoms that we have here today. And nobody, the speech that Martin Luther King would have said, the last speech, he have seen the mountaintops, and that would have talked about when God would have carried Moses to the top and show him the promised land, but he didn't enter. As a little boy, that would have touched my very heart and soul when I would have seen that. It's a very old clip. Mahatma Gandhi would have been talking about divine rule, order. Something that we would have drawn strength upon in quiet times. All union members know about Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King. And as long as we continue to let the politics separate us, we aren't going to reach anywhere within this country. Despite our who dare, we the people of this country must develop a togetherness as what would have taken place in 1986, where Indians and Africans unite, and at that point in time they would have taken down the PNM government and placed another one in power. And now we are seeing just underneath a year, this UNC government is destroying Trinidad and Tobago unchecked. Because the same activists that speak on their behalf, that ought to criticize them, saying nothing. And that is what is the problem. So when I hear I am talking from on a basis of aggravation and aggression. When I talk it coming from here. We ought not to let this government behave like this. We are the government. And if it come to pass that we have to go day and night in front of the Parliament House, then so be it. Watch how they behave when they are addressing the people's business. Kamala Prasad Bisesa is allowed to make all kind of allegation on check without being called into account. This woman is the most reckless prime minister that was ever seen in Trinidad and Tobago. That's facts. And the same activists on them, not that you dislike them, when you beat your child, it's not because you hate the child, it's out of love. Because if you're like me, when I beat, I crying too at the same time, but you have to get the licks. It's with love I'm doing it. And this is what is taking place here in this country. Don't let no Adel Roberts and dotish Philip Elwood Alexander. Adel Roberts is a drunk. And Philip abandoned everybody in the party for a position, a senator position. I hope you can carry that to your grave, Philip. Put that on your coffin. Because there is a God. There is a God. And there is a price to pay for using people. You go ahead. The government of Trinidad and Tobago is on check. And I ain't asking you to go against no party, but to put them in check. All I need is 5,000 people. And let me go outside the Red House. Day and night. Day and night. Let them know what time it is.
more than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent, and all will be lost. The aeroplane and the radio have brought us closer together. The very nature of these inventions cries out for goodness in men, cries out for universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. Even now, my voice is...
Trinidad and Tobago. You see, at the end of the day, it can't be that we come here and pour out all of this, and you remain in the background, frightened. It didn't make no sense that we come here and we give it our all, and you remain in the back, frightened, ain't saying anything, and just listening. The people that I am seeing on this live here, they have faces behind it. There are people that went through hurt unimaginable. And we ain't asking for money, you know. Not yet. Money is a tool. What we are asking for is your support. Show some love. Click the thumbs up button. As I say, the numbers are there on the screen. You would have went through a situation. You would have went through something in this life. Some of you are hearing this and don't know how. Reach out. That is my personal number likewise. So you could call that number even when the program is off, in which we could have discussions. We need all hands on deck if we had to bring back this country into alignment. We need all hands on deck. There are things that we cannot say here, but you have to understand the legalities within this whole matter. So we need all hands on deck. Oh yeah? Never answer this call here. Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
General.
Yeah, what's going on?
Hello.
Yes, good evening.
Hello.
Yes, good evening.
Hello.
Yeah, I hear you.
And I told me anybody.
Yes, yeah, ma'am, sir.
Hello.
Yes, good evening. I know, Anthony, huh? But tell her what's going on. Sometimes the calls are matter of fact. I don't think we get a call there, why? Watch out one out of the lines in hook up, so I don't know. It has happened. So Trinidad and Tobago, as I saying, this is not just about thing. Yeah? I mean, whoever calling could call back. I don't know and on the line. I don't know what on the line. So we humbly apologize about that. So Trinidad. Good evening.
Hello.
Hello?
Yes, good evening, sir.
Mr. Jeffrey?
Yes,
are you
sir.
aware that speech you just played was a Hitler speech?
Yes, I know that was a Hitler speech.
Okay. So the reason why I called in is because you're one of your government officials, Mr. Padarat, met with the Israeli ambassador 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
And this ambassador was also touring around in the Ministry of Public Utilities. Israel, what are your thoughts on that? That's actually what I really want to hear your thoughts and opinion on. Why is Trinidad and Tobago associating with Israel in any form or fashion? And what does that signal to you?
I mean,
and the reason why I'm mentioning this is because you played that Hitler speech. So what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, in a nutshell, I mean, I I didn't plan to go into that, you know, but what Israel, I believe Israel is committing genocide. And this government aligning themselves with Israel, I would have seen it, a matter of fact, with the thing with Padarat.
I'm going to give you a prediction right here.
Mm-hmm.
I predict the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service will be doing training with the IDF soon. Do you know about the IDF? Do you know what the IDF is?
I know what the IDF is.
The Israeli Defense Force, the ones who train the NYPD and all these police forces around the world, train to oppress the people. You know, the biggest story in your face right now is Trinidad and Tobago associating itself with Israel.
And, you know, we're saying there, I mean, you forced my mind to do some research here now, because if it is the police getting on, so it's in Trinidad and Tobago, and they...
Exactly.
Right.
You're getting it.
I seen the connection.
You're getting it. It's clicking now. It's clicking.
I seen the connection that they're trying to drop on. So they could be engaging the service of them to probably oppress the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
How to oppress the people more effectively. That is what the idea teaches police forces around the world. Crowd suppression techniques, yada, 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 all that stuff. All that is coming to you, I predict.
You forced me to do some research.
The only way, and one thing I want to say, when you're looking at your government, and crime is so much in the news, it's everything that they talk about. When it comes from a government perspective, the only way to solve crime is to provide jobs, to provide economic opportunity. Yeah. More police doesn't mean less crime. Actually, more police, when you look at the statistics here in the United States, more police equals more crime. If you want to solve the crime problem in the country, you have to provide economic opportunity. And so far, this government has taken no steps whatsoever in bringing opportunities into Trinidad and Tobago. So you should be looking now, if they're not doing this, the next step, the next thought in their heads will be, how do we suppress the people? Right?
You see,
so you have all these people...
solving crime don't only mean law enforcement. I mean, what caused the crime in the first place? What pushed the man?
Look at the police in China. Look at the police in China. They walk around with guns, and their mission is basically to help people. Why doesn't China have a massive crime problem like the United States? Because they provide economic opportunity for their people. So they don't need a great big evil police force. They have no guns in China. So why is it in the Western nations, the capitalist nations, that you have police walking around with guns, killing people, suppressing people, and all this stuff? And to bring me back to the Joshua Shamaru case, it doesn't matter if Joshua and his girlfriend was like a Bonnie and Clyde. It doesn't matter what they were doing before. At the end, when they crashed that car into the fence, Joshua became like the car. In my opinion, the car is not a threat to you anymore. So you can't use the car as a weapon. The first thing he did was put his hands out the window. It doesn't matter what he did before that, regardless if it was a sting, if he was a criminal. He had his hands out of the window, and that is the only thing you should be focusing on. He surrendered. And at that point, the police should have taken him into custody and case closed. But something else happened here. And you have the police acting in this way, like they don't care about human life. And now all of a sudden, it like to me, like I'm looking at this stuff, and now all of a sudden Israel is in the country dealing with the worst, the most evil person in Trinidad government, Mr. Padarat. Did you see the picture I sent you with the two of them smiling and shaking hands together?
Yeah. I remember it exactly. I remember it.
That is evil. That is evil entering Trinidad and Tobago, and that, to me, in my opinion, should be the most important topic right now. If you're focused on the PNM and making the PNM look good, this is something that you should be focusing on. The evil that is being brought into the country. Look up and the Malcolm X, the Martin Luther King video you played. You should do some research into him, and also Gandhi. I know we were programmed as kids to admire these figures, but I encourage you to do some more research into MLK and his role into suppressing the people, into suppressing blacks and to keeping blacks all nice and calm.
Well, I would have done extensive research on both figures, and
MLK was CIA all the way.
Well, I between me and you, I was really disappointed in when I would read the biography of Martin Luther King. And I didn't want to go and polarize Gandhi the same way. You understand? I was disappointed when I did go into the biography of Gandhi and Matafa. You see, they were preaching something. And when they actually go into their lifestyle, it was something totally different. But here we're going on with that. There was honest about it. They never say that, they never deny or all them kind of thing.
Anyway, yes, Sidika, the police state is coming to Trinidad. That is what is coming. You're gonna see a more efficient and deadly police force coming out. And the protest you did, I applaud you on it. But the next one you do like some planning behind it. You need to have signs. You need to have a media campaign and all of this stuff. I applaud you on it. It was good for first time, a good effort. But next time, do some preparation, and it'll be much more successful.
Well, thank you very much.
Next time you might get tear gas next time.
Well, thank you very much for that.
That, in my opinion,
because
when you have tear gas in your eyes, that is a successful protest.
No, well, I mean, I'm glad for what you say, because at the same time, I had to be very careful, because them police and them, me go like that, you see they try to kill Joshua Samaru. You see they try to kill Joshua Samaru. So death, going and protest.
And more will die.
Yeah.
More will die. And I predict maybe a protester might die. This is what needs to be done to spark up the people, to wake up the people. Then you have to put yourself in harm's way. You're also lucky I'm not in Trinidad, boy.
You're
real lucky.
Where would I do? But Slimy, before you go, there's a man in the background these days, but there's a man used to run programs. You understand? You just fade off.
You know why that is, but let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about that. But you know why that is.
All right.
I was reading about the 1972 protest that happened in Trinidad. The crushed protest, I'm gonna say, the failed protest, right? And one of the techniques that they were using at those protests, they would actually protest in front of the MPs' houses. that is something that we should look at to be doing in the future also. Like when you're a servant of the public, you're supposed to serve the public. And when the public is angry at you, then we should make our presence felt. And I see nothing. I see Trinidad going down. They're making all the wrong decisions, and it's time to turn things up to the next level.
Okay. Yeah, well, I see that
My
that's very
opinion.
effective. We should be protesting in front of the MPs and them office and thing, to be quite honest. Yeah, I mean, there will be protests like that going forward within the future where we really
We
have
need
to actually go
effective
outside the office,
protests. You know,
go outside the house and
you
protest.
you exactly in front of their house, make life uncomfortable for them. You know, and there was this video you sent me the other day with Jillian John in this big black BMW or Benz and playing this happy music. You need to make these people feel the pain that you feel every day. If you are uncomfortable, your politicians should be uncomfortable also. They shouldn't be living a high life on your blood, sweat, and tears. And this Joshua Samuel thing, it's gonna be, I think, I'm losing, I don't have the proper words, but it's a pivotal moment in Trinidad and Tobago's future, I think. Anyway, let me get off the phone. Somebody else calling.
Okay then, okay.
That's my thought.
Okay then, I'll listen to it. Well, Trinidad and Tobago, I would have seen a comment within the comment section. How would the police have jobs, crime pay the government, keep putting the people under pressure? True. To a certain degree, crime pay the government. It pay lawyers. It does boost up the canteen in the jail. Crime pays, whether we like it or not. Crime pays. Government ain't going to pay a extra pension for a pensioner die. That is how serious it is. Crime pays. So, ladies and gentlemen, the lines are open. The lines are open. The lines are open. The numbers to call is right on the screen, 333-2176. Get your comments in. So to those that are on TikTok, request to join, and you can join in. Join in on TikTok. My name is Renaissance Jeffrey. This is what's taking place here. We need all hands on deck. Trust what I'm saying. We need all hands on deck. So the many of you that are outside there that are going through these problems, or you need to reach out. There are certain things that we cannot talk on the phone. Trust what I'm saying. Plenty of the things we can't talk on the phone. Talk on social media, matter of fact. There are things that we need to meet in person and have conversations on. Because the authorities are listening and they are going to try by any means possible to try to take down what is going on here. You see Bob Marley, they get rid of him. Martin Luther King, he was assassinated. John F. Kennedy, he was liberating people to get rid of him. Julius Caesar, that would have brought the whole Senate together, to get rid of them. People who constantly stand up for people. People who have been unifying factors throughout history. They would have felt the brunt of the law. Because there is a lot of money to be made in a divided set of people. Take, for example, black people within Trinidad and Tobago. We are consumers. Very few of us within this country have groceries and supermarkets and these type of things. And we always have to be buying from other people and boosting up their pocket, boosting up their banks. Whilst we remain consumers and they teach us to be managers and manage all these things on them. At our demise, many of us, we went down in old age, not having anything. And in closing, Trinidad, Uriah Butler, at this point in time, he may be turning in his grave. Concerning what is taking place within this country. On the next show, that is carded on this platform, we are going to talk about this Sandy Grande affair. And break down this thing with Danny Guerra. Don't feel, Roger, you getting way in it, because we will treat with you too. Don't feel you getting way, we will treat with you. But I will specifically spend some considerable amount of time breaking down this issue with that would have taken place in Sandy Grande with Guerra. So Trinidad and Tobago, thanks for being a part of this program here this afternoon. Thanks for watching. And stay glued to your television. So if you would like to reach out to us, our numbers is 333-2176. Any information that you want to send off the record, send it on that number. We also have our website where you could send a tip. Any information that you know you would like for us to reveal. And in closing, I would like to tell you to join us on Lucas Rights 868, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok, and the Slimy Show on YouTube. Thanks for watching.
Laptops in your children's hands. Laptops in your children's hands. You have seen new hospitals open doors. You have seen affordable fuel, groceries within reach. And you have seen dignified jobs. And you have seen dignified jobs. You have seen what happens with a caring UNC government and a coalition. Today, I tell you, vote for no property tax. Vote for lower food prices, fuel prices. Vote to leave senior citizens' pensions alone. Vote to open the gate for all the children of our land. Vote to create 50,000 jobs. Vote against a cashless society. Vote to the public servants, the increases. Vote to the public servants, the increases. Vote to the public servants, the increases.
A vote for the UNC is a vote that negotiations will start with no less than 10%.
And I also want to tell the TNTech workers who are unjustly treated, that this 10% is also for you. With the consolidation of the cost of living allowance, going back to the start of your negotiation period, PNM give you 0.00. Kamla Prasad Bisesa are going to give you 10%, and the consolidation of COLA with Big Back Bay.
Approaching. Are you all setting aside money for that 10% salary increase that you got promised publicly?
Still working on it. Looking for money. If you have any, give us some. Thank you all. It's for the people who worked hard to get qualified, but still sit at home depressed because he or she cannot get a job.
For a party that has had in its manifesto for quite some time that one of the things you'll want to work on is creating a wider job market and getting jobs for younger people, you all are not doing a very good job.
Because someone else got that job because they have a daddy and they have the connections. Election day is for the mother walking the aisles of the grocery store with her children and with a pen and a pencil or a calculator in her hand because the food prices keep rising and she has to keep a tab on what she can buy. When a child picks up a snack, that mother must not have to tell that child put it back because she cannot afford it. Everybody deserves an equal chance.
Former CPAC workers say they remain in limbo following the termination of over 300 contracts due to alleged irregularities. And while they support an audit, they wanted to know when they will be rehired.
Everybody deserves an equal chance.
Landlord coming by the door. Landlord knocking on your door. You can't afford to pay rent. They put in all your stuff at the side of the road. That is embarrassment. As you now said, the pending investigation, we will get rehired. We will get rehired. We can't say, landlord, we're going to get rehired. You could wait a month or 2 or 3. How long is that?
Election day is for the mother walking the aisles of the grocery store with her children and with a pen and a pencil or a calculator in her hand.
Former CPAC workers say they remain in limbo following the termination of over 300 contracts.
So Trinidad and Tobago, as we would have said, join us here on this platform from time to time, and we are going to give you updates, views that no other media house has given you in Trinidad and Tobago. With that,